Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Tuesday, the 15th of February, comes to you from London. And a bit more green on the screen today. So we start by looking at the dollar index. Had a strong rise over the last few days, still bullish on the short-term chart, and in fact bullish on the medium and longer-term charts. This is the weekly, daily, and 60-minute long-term, medium-term, and short-term view of the market with the corresponding point and figure targets. So we see here that dollar is looking strong, but falling away today. But still bullish on all three longer term time frames. That means the euro is looking weaker, bit of recovery this morning, but is still below the cloud on all three time frames. Remembering, if we're below the cloud, we're bearish. If we're above the cloud, we're bullish. It's really that simple. Looking at the British pound, we are actually recovering a little bit against the dollar, but again, still in weak mode in the medium term, and that shorter term chart. We are just hitting the cloud resistance there. Against the euro, we're sitting at 119.48, so looking a bit better there. And if we look at Bitcoin, up 3.5% this morning, back into short-term bullish territory, looking very much like a bounce on the long-term cloud. And the long-term target of $83,000 is still very much intact, provided we hold that low that we saw last year. That's the target that we're aiming for. Looking at the S&P 500 index, we had a fall away yesterday. We were down more at one stage, but we are still, interestingly, below the cloud on the short-term chart. Downside target some 8% lower. And if we fall to a new low below the low we saw in January, we activate the downside target some 20% lower. So that's the thing to watch for the moment, and the same with the Nasdaq. And so we are seeing a recovery this morning in the futures. Looks like a strong opening for the market, up 1.2% and up 1.75% on the Nasdaq. And that means the VIX volatility has fallen back 6%, back into the 20s. Still in fearful territory, but above the 30 level is where we really see that. FTSE future up 0.75%. The DAX in Germany up 1.4%. News just breaking that Russian troops are pulling back from the Ukraine border. So that has helped markets this morning in terms of recovery. And we're seeing the CAC 40 also looking stronger as well. Japan was down just under 1%, and the Hang Seng. The Sensex bounced back quite sharply towards the close. We see here the last few hours there in the Sensex. So actually up nearly 3%. Negating some of the falls that we've seen recently. The Aussie market actually down 0.5%, but that's resource laden, and we're seeing a lot of commodities falling back. Markets recovering, commodity rises just being muted. We'll look at the energy mix in a minute. Wheat is down nearly 2%, so pulling back there, but still bullish on all three time frames really. Gold sitting at 18.55, again pulling back, but was nudging multi-month highs yesterday. So we are seeing, and again, upside targets being activated. So the long-term picture is still bullish for gold. US 10-year yields sitting back above the 2% level. We were on the verge of activating these upside targets this morning. That looks set to happen at some point. The energy mix, we've got crude oil falling down 2% on that Russian news, so that's quite significant. We went out as neutral to clients this morning. You can read the report. If you're an enterprise client, you can read the report there with the targets for Brent crude. So we went out as neutral. Really, when there's uncertainty like this, you unless you have strong conviction in the targets, that was the call to make. US nat gas, we were actually bullish, and that's up 5% this morning. Emissions, we were neutral again, and we're little changed here. We are below the cloud. We need to hold the 90 euro mark. Gas prices falling on that news significantly. So again, we were neutral here. Downside targets. And then if we look at German power, it's actually down, and we remain bullish here because we did have upside targets. We make new highs on German power, then we activate some pretty big upside targets. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.